It is your classic metal show right here on the classicmetalshow.com. That is Duane Morano. I hope I said that correctly. And that is something from his debut release, Incognito, and that is called Face the Fire. And the guy who's in the Classic Metal Show studio to face the fire is the one and only guitarist, Duane Morano. What's going on there, Duane? How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
We're real good. Real good. Glad to have you on. We always like to explore new artists. I'm going to consider you a new artist, even though you're not some young kid. But, you're not exactly a household name yet either. So to us, you're brand new.
Yeah, I'm a late bloomer.
Absolutely. Well, Duane, I need to find out a little bit about you. This opportunity to interview you and feature some of your music was passed on to me. Of course, we've been in the business quite a long time, and we have a lot of connections with a lot of, the publicists and a lot of the bands. And the fact that you're an up-and-comer and releasing your debut release, Incognito, here, and you fit right into that hard rock, 80s metal, melodic rock genre. You're kind of right up our alley.
Sounds good.
Well, Duane, let's get the fans a little familiar with you. Obviously, you're a guitarist, and you're no spring chicken, as you said yourself. You're a late comer to the party. Where are you from? Where do you come from?
Let's see. I was born in New York. Went down to Florida. That's where I learned all about music and everything down in Florida. Then about 10 years ago, I moved up to the Washington, D.C. area.
Okay.
And that's when things really started to change for me. And I started getting back into music more and whatnot, and decided to make the CD.
Sure, absolutely. Well, what's interesting to me, Duane, is that, for the most part, and this is no knock on you, but, you're not a known name in the music world as far as, the 80s music is concerned, but you seem to collaborate with a lot of kind of known names, a lot of actual personal friends of mine, as well as the Classic Metal Show, being Danny Vaughn or Terry Illowis or Pat Badger. It's kind of amazing that somebody who's just kind of come along with a debut release can feature some of these, hard hitters that have been around for 30 plus years.
Yeah, a lot of that came about through different things, like getting Bill on board. Bill is an old friend, and that's where it all started. So Bill Leverty, Firehouse, I'm talking about. So
right.
It started with him, and I was going to do the CD, a few years back, right before I moved from Florida up to Virginia. But there was the whole economic collapse and all that, so everything went on hold. So years later, decided to work on the CD, got Bill on board. I was going to originally use a drum machine, but the drums didn't sound right, so that's when Bill's like, well, here, let me call Mikey. So he gives Mikey a call, and that was actually the first guest on the CD, was he brought Mikey on board. Now, other people I had known for a little while from doing accounting work and whatnot, and that's how, I ended up getting Pat on board. Terry and I had met at the show, and we hit it off, and we're just talking, I talk accounting, he talks music, so there's common questions that are going back and forth, and then we just became friends, and 5 songs later, here we are with the CD.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've known Bill Leverty for quite a while, as well as CJ Snare. I mean, they've been friends of the show for a long time. And, being from Richmond, Virginia, they kind of rub elbows with another band that also opened for Tesla, a band that we promoted heavily, friends of mine. The band Red Rain out of Richmond, they had an opportunity to open for Tesla the last couple of seasons. And, I see you're getting that opportunity as well. And it's kind of like it's kind of almost incestuous, or just kind of like a really close-knit family, when this guy knows this guy and this guy helps that guy. And, basically that's how it goes on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. I'm friends with Steve from Red Rain.
Right, of course.
So, it's interesting that you mentioned that. Now they're opening for Extreme. And since I know, like Pat, I'm giving him notes and he's giving me Tesla notes. So, it's actually kind of working like you said, like a family to kind of help each other out, and hey, don't do this, make sure you do that, don't piss off the stage manager, things like that.
Well, we broke Red Rain here on the show. Actually, my good friend, the drummer Sammy Lee, I'd known him for literally years, and he was just like, "Hey, man, we're doing this new thing, this Red Rain. What can you do to help me? Any publicists?" So, I hooked him up with Chip Ruggieri from Chipster PR, and it just kind of went on from there. And they got some opening slots with Tesla, and I see you're kind of following in this kind of the same pattern.
Yeah, it was not intentional because we decided we were going to play out once the demand was there. A lot of people kept asking me, hey, can you put the CD out there? And I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, I have all these different players. How do you get the band together in order to do something like that? And would it sound right with someone else singing, let's say, a Terry Lewis song or a Danny Vaughan song? So that's what put the whole thing on hold for a while. But then after a couple of rehearsals with Brian Cole, he can sing the stuff, no problem. I sent videos over to everyone involved with the project, and they were like, yeah, do it. He fits the mold perfect. So
sure, absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about this release, Incognito. I mean, being an accomplished guitarist, I mean, your talents shine through on this new release. But tell us a little bit about your background and as how this the music came together for this release.
Stuff I've been writing on and off over the past 20 years is what's on this release. It's almost like stuff that's 20 years old to things that I wrote with Terry about 3 months before we decided to release the CD. So it's always been like a retrospective. I figured my first CD would be that because I am so old. I wanted to take little elements from different years of my life and kind of put it in there and tell that story.
Right. Well, very cool. Well, the thing that I wondered, and I'm only going by your press release on this. I don't know if this is just a oversight or it leaves somebody with the wrong impression, but it says here that you're a rising artist who specializes in a similar sound of the 80s. And it's just like, well, are you an 80s guy or not? So that's the question I have.
Yes, I am an 80s guy.
Right, of course. So you're not just trying to recreate something, you're just doing what you do.
Right. I'm doing the music that I love, the music that I grew up on, and the stuff I blast in my car.
Yeah, absolutely. So where did your musical roots start? I mean, where did you begin? Is this something you did as a kid or as a teenager, or where did you start with this?
Well, I was about 7 years old, 6 or 7, and I started playing piano. So my mom played piano, my dad played guitar. So I was always in a musical household, and I would sit down with my mom at the piano, and I'd start playing along with her, and she'd show me things. And it wasn't until I was about, I would say 14, that I started messing with the guitar. So I heard, Huey Lewis in the news, and I was like, all right, let me try that. It's a different approach. And then started learning, had a 67 Jazzmaster that my dad let me play. So I was learning all the stuff on there. And then I heard 5150, and that just changed everything, put me right to where I am now.
Right, absolutely. Well, I'm assuming as a teen or even into your 20s and maybe even up till now, you probably enjoy going out to a lot of live shows, live concerts, whether it's clubs or arenas. What's some of the favorite bands or some of the favorite performances you've seen over your years?
Night Ranger by far one of the best bands. Just saw Sammy Hagar recently, and he still smokes. Great show there. Huey Lewis, another great show. Saw Prince. He's phenomenal live. I know not exactly, the hair genre, but because I'm a keyboard player, it kind of sticks me into all sorts of different things. Like I like Stevie Wonder as far as piano goes. And then for the guitar, I'm like Eddie Van Halen, Steve Vai, went to Generation X and enjoyed that tremendously. Go to some other concerts. Poison was really good. Steelheart surprised me out of all the bands that I'd seen. When the singer for that band, he nailed it and floored it.
So what do you like more? You like